All right, now we're up to full screen on you.
Okay, well, I was hoping that it would switch back and forth. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Free Range, and we're back with Drake Bailey, where we graze on wild ideas with Drake, and hopefully our computers work well. We had some computer issues that interfered with our ability to do the last show. So, hi, Drake. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm not sure about our computers, but other than that, we're in good shape.
Okay. Yeah, we may go off at any minute. It's not in our intention, but uh, it seems as though we're having little issues that way. Well, I have a list of questions for you, Drake, and we can go through them and discuss them. And
Well, okay, you have to bear in mind that you're gonna have to talk loud, or I won't be
okay,
able to hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, talk about that loud, and we're all right.
Okay, I hate talking this loud, but I'll work on it and make sure so everybody can hear me. Okay, this is the first question. Drake mentioned the Earth changes were being taken care of by the galactics. Does that mean we won't see the state of Florida underwater?
Among other things, yes. What you want to do is look up Great Earth Changes and compare what they got in mind for what's really going on and what has so far happened. What you have to understand and remember is that those nice little plateaus that you see with a vertical rock wall all the way around them out west are, if you go up and look on the top, you'll find all kind of remnants of sea creatures, creatures. Um, and that tells me that there was at one time a great inland sea, just like I have heard before, that covered the tops of those. So, no, we're not headed near to what we have experienced in the past.
Yay! That's what that's what people want to hear anyway, and
I'm
it's
not going to tell you to cancel your flood insurance. What with the weather the way it's acting, that might be a good idea to keep that.
extra for that, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. Since all animals are on Earth are supposed to be 2D, then are they going to transition to 4D? I
Yeah. The only differentials will be that things that don't, let's see here, serve relative purposes to the critter itself. As an example, all those stinging insects, if the insect itself is not of a beneficial nature, the whole insect goes. However, the ones that are beneficial will no longer need stingers.
wow, will they talk to us?
Well, the other thing I'm thinking about is that we have mosquitoes. They
Yeah.
don't serve no earthly purpose other than to bite you and make you itch or go in your ear in the middle of the night and wake you up. I mean, so I would imagine those things. I had a list at one point, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well, I was wondering about the sentient nature of the mammals because I was
Well,
that they would be 2D, I guess.
the, I talk loud.
Oh, I was just wondering about the animals that, the mammals. I
Well, those who are sentient will also go with those who are not. What you have to understand is that a large portion of animal life is non-sentient. It's like trees. Some of them are actually sentient beings. What you have to understand, what has to be understood, is very simple, and that is that irrespective, you need a balance in nature. Okay, and that's what will be restored. Okay. So
yeah, it's
that means that most of the animals, pets, and people that you know. Now, the freak out part is when your pet says, "I wish you wouldn't do that." I mean, that's going to be a jaw dropper for sure. But and don't forget, pets have got a sense of humor. So, what would you do? What are you going to do if it decides to be funny? Well,
Sounds like fun to me.
yeah, exactly, and that's part of the thing is that happiness, joy, laughter, and all that go fit together. So,
And that's very important for it. That keeps your vibration up too.
uh-huh.
Yeah. So, okay, here's the next question. What is Trump planning to do about the microwaves in 5G? If he does,
The artificial 5G ain't gonna happen. The natural one will. What has happened is that ET has set the artificial to a certain specific harmonic wavelength that melts the towers. So when they turn that sucker on, they're in for a large surprise. I'm just going to leave that. That's what I was told. I'm going to leave that alone. It ain't me, folks.
Okay, that's awesome. Because it's scary, you know, because the militarized version is lethal.
Louder.
Okay, louder. Okay.
Louder.
The militarized version, which was created by the Chinese, is very dangerous.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
That's awesome. Good.
I hope so. See, I get told things, and whether they happen or not is not up to me. And just because I said them don't make them absolute gospel. What happens is when it happens, when somebody turns the sucker on, it melts the friggin' tower, then we know we got it by the whatevers.
Yeah, I would love to see that. And I'd love to see
I would too.
Okay, here's the next question. On the latest Muggsy show, you mentioned Trump would only serve about 2 years of his second term. Will it be the vice president that steps into the role of president, or what?
No, there's going to be, by that time, there's going to be relatively extreme changes in the structure of government, among other things. And one of the things that will happen is that most of the people by that time who are nasty and hold public office will be gone. Trump's job, therefore, as the bull in the china shop, will be done. So consequently, what we're looking at is that he won't be needing to serve in that capacity. That does not mean he won't be leading what would be known as a consortium of countries. In other words, what we're eventually looking at is a world leader of Trump's caliber and nastiness to get things done. The second part of that is that is the last preparation or preparatory part of governance in general. In other words, governance in general will be done away with, gone. And well, it's not an anarchical deal where anarchy is the flavor of the Kool-Aid of the week. What it is that it will no longer be necessary to have a government. The individual things between countries, borders, and all that happy stuff will have been rectified to a point where those are no longer needed either. So what you'll have is that the reason the Guatemalans are trying to beat a path through Mexico is because of the situations in Guatemala. If the whole world concentrates on problems like Guatemala, Venezuela, etc., and solves or addresses those to the extent where the people are taken care of, you don't have any need for all this other horse hockey. Simple.
That would be so wonderful, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Now this is a long one, so pay attention here. Okay, and I'll try to make sure I talk loud. According to recent genetic studies of the different Jewish lines, about 8 million Ashkenazi Jewish people can be traced back to just 4 women on the study of mitochondrial DNA. Another says from Persian tribes living along the Black Sea. They are known to have very high IQs. According to Stuart Swerdlow, the story of our planet had hybridization by the reptilians and the Khazarians resulted in this. Blue blood, true blood. What is your opinion of this? Why is their IQ so high? Do they have Anunnaki blood? I'm interested to know the reference questions if you could help.
You're trying to get me to write a book, and I ain't going to do that. The show ain't long enough.
I know.
All right. Basically, mankind was geoengineered by a geneticist from the ancient builders, the ones that originated things at about when the whole of things was only about 5 billion years old. You have to bear in mind that the age of things is 864 billion years. So about 5 billion years after the beginning of it, okay, you have a whole bunch of heavy practice runs and studies and this and that, experiments, you want to name it. And what transpired eventually was the creation, and it doesn't have squat to do with particular political or lineage expressions of any kind. It is, and this is the catchphrase, mankind, meaning the whole of man, all of us on the planet. And we have the same latent IQ as any genius. We have then, to go along with it, that ET has recognized extremely extraordinary capability of powers that they'd love to get a hold of. So they've been dissecting us and eating us and experimenting and trying to figure out how to get that themselves. They cannot get a hold of it. So the good guys come in after they found out how nasty it was. We made enough noise that somebody paid attention and said, oh, well, we need to fix all this horse hockey. Well, they're in the process of, and this is going to screw with people. Everybody is aware of remote, where you do something from a distance, either with a TV set with a clicker or or whatever. We have that capability in terms of our reaction to things by ET. They can go through your specific genetic code and turn things on and off according to what is necessary, according to your situation, etc. So what has happened in the process of doing that, they have been able to help control things, keep things out of the realms of kill them all because they're Muslims or whatever may have come up. Okay, now they are switching on the ones, and I'm talking about en masse. This is where you could pick, well, the sun shines on half the globe at a time, so figure somewhere in that neighborhood of numbers of people, depending on which side they're on, being turned on to the fact that we are, not only are we a part of the human race, but that we have extraordinarily wonderful powers and capabilities that we can use for everybody's benefit. Not just one or two, not just your neighbor or somebody that's sick or whatever, but that we can continue to heal everybody. Okay, and the ideology is to get us to a point where we no longer have the necessity for straight up self-defense by carrying a gun with you at all times or whatever the situation may be. You will no longer have the assassination squads and things of that nature. They will cease to be. So the rectification of that is beyond what is known as social norm or social structure and goes into the psychology of each individual to be openly accepting and non-predetermining of people they meet and situations they encounter. That gives us the capability real quick to go to 4D. Okay?
That's awesome. And you know what? That's not the first time I heard that. So that's awesome. I like that. And it's true. Next question.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy. Oh, Drake, in your last blog, you mentioned John F. Kennedy. I have often wondered, and please comment on the following. This is another long one. John F. Kennedy died young, and when this happens, often the soul becomes a hero. In studying the Kennedy family and what they stood for and reading on John F. Kennedy, his family was involved in the mafia, did not exempt him by association later, and also Satanic history, plus records of his academic were not stellar. He was a womanizer, etc., and agreed to marry Jacqueline in the Illuminati family. Furthermore, presidents' speeches are written for them, and the quote for you use does not guarantee it came from him. I'm sorry if I sound judgmental. forget to reiterate, Kennedys are one of the 13 Illuminati families, does not exempt them from how they made their money, and with the Kennedys, a lot of association with satanics and involvement. I guess I just read that. I thought there was a question in there, but it says
there kind of is, and I'm gonna give everybody a heads up. It probably will screw with a whole bunch of people, but that's not my problem. Go look it up. JFK was somewhat of a renegade with regards to his family, meaning that he didn't follow their dictates, nor the dictates of those who were their handlers or controllers. He was part and party to the Kennedy fortune. They wanted to steal it. The guy was in position. And what was funny was the good guys took him out just before Kennedy got taken out. So the bad guy didn't get a chance to put his paperwork into the pile. Consequently, the Kennedys still hold that fortune. Now, the youngest, I think there was a guy that supposedly died on an airplane crash. Well, really? And know that the Kennedy fortune is not going to be split up like the cabal wants it to be. It's not going to be split like they thought. It's going to remain whole. That's part of the what is it? Contingency plan within the paperwork of passing it from one family member to another. And no matter who wants to try it, can't be done. If somebody does figure out how to do it and decides to screw with the combinations of things existing in it, all of it suddenly is going to be found in charities all over the world. It'll disappear suddenly, poof. So they have a choice. We can keep trying. We got to figure out a way around this, and that it gives the bad guys something to do, so they don't bother us so much.
That's good. Okay.
Well, I think so.
I always like Kennedy. I don't care what anybody says. I still remember the day I was in school, grade school at the time. Tells me how old I am. But anyway, I remember the teacher came in crying, and he had assassinated. She's told us all that. So that was a sad day for everybody, I think. He was trying his best to do the right thing. And sometimes that takes being a renegade.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. You talked about the little magnet to put on the back of the skull and turn it to help with stuff. Drake didn't say clockwise or counterclockwise. I tried it, but I tend to be dyslexic and usually go counter unless I'm told otherwise. Does it make a difference?
No, those little round magnets, when you have a hold of one end of it, that's one of the poles. And you can't twist a magnetic pole. Doesn't work very well. The military tried it and blew some stuff up, so they left it alone. Now, what it is, you take the magnet off the refrigerator, and if you'll feel behind your head, there's a soft spot just below your skull, a little tail on your skull, right in there. You want to move that magnet up and down until you feel a result. When you feel a result, stop right there, and keep it on there until such time as it tells you to take it off, and you'll just not need it anymore. You might get upset. There's all kind of things that can be the signal, but generally it feels sort of like you ate a big meal and you're full in this area back here behind your head. So once that happens, then you have done all you can do. You put the little magneto back on the friggin' ice box, and just go down the road and be happy. You can do that sometimes more than once a day. That varies a little bit, but you want about anywhere from 3 hours to 8 hours in between the treatments. So you got a generalized time period. Now, good Lord, I don't believe this. Excuse me, I got a phone call. Hello. Hey, call me back in about an hour. Bye. That was my son. Okay. what you'll do is you'll find a hunger back here in the back of your head. Feels like you need to eat, but it's not in your gut where it should be. It's on the back of your head. You get that feeling, get your little magneto out and put him up in there and hold it there until such time as it says it's full. Then put it back on the refrigerator. That may be, and usually is, the signal that you might want to treat more again. Okay, generally once a day, sometimes twice. It varies a little bit, but those are the sensations that you get. What it does is it allows a harmonic development between your life center and the cosmos. It causes your aura to be as it should. It causes all kinds of fun and games. Your nervous system will improve. Your circulatory system will improve. Your respiratory system will improve, and it's pretty nice over a period of time to treat yourself that way.
Because we are electromagnetic beings, correct?
Yeah, and that's another thing that kind of screws everybody up. We think we're biological, and we ain't. The electric eel produces a pretty sizable electrical shock when you snatch one. I don't recommend that. I was lucky and got a little one. It was only about this long, about 8 inches long. And ooh, I didn't want to hold on to that. So what the deal is that the parameters for the existence of humankind were developed in combination with and the waveform is more complicated than the 27,000 in broadcast TV. This is something along the line of 80-some thousand different waveforms involved in this. Okay, this is in the creation of life, and specifically in the bipedal manner of a receptor or vessel to hold it, and we are, as such, primarily as much machine as we are biological. And this is why all of a sudden everybody comes up with robots to do this and that and the other thing. It's not that we envy the robot or think of it in any particular way, other than we think it would be nice to be more like one. In short, think of, we know for a fact that if the robotic mechanisms are used, that we will not feel any joint pain for 250 years. That's about how long the joints will last. So consequently, I don't have to worry about this 70-year-old pain in the whatever called old age. Cool. Hook me up. So it is it's a specific pattern found in the DNA of human beings to want to be more robotic. That's the transhumanism everybody's really, really worried about. Now, everybody else is worried about AI, and there ain't nothing to worry about with AI, because the funny part about this is you have a large load of intelligence, okay, in a box. Artificial intelligence is no more, in that case, is no more artificial than what we've got up here, because nobody can truly define intelligence. Sentient being and all these other things, yes, and that's only according to our definition. So what you end up with is that we are a biomechanical already. We are already cyborgs. Started out that way, and it's beginning to be more technically oriented. Wasn't terribly long ago, nobody knew how to operate one of these computers, as an example. So we're becoming more commonly interfaced, and that's the problem, the interface. As science goes forward, you're going to find that individuals can interface. They have to have implants, but they can interface directly with a computer. Now, you can wear a headdress that allows the same sort of connection that they have used in what they call hyperdimensional learning. and it is beyond the learning capacity, learning comprehension of most people. But what happens is you get a headband, and that headband is hooked to a computer. That computer, just like in the Matrix, I didn't know how to fly a Huey. Okay, it downloads, same thing. So
Well,
they've been doing this for years.
okay. My question is, if we had a lot of our codons either turned off or the frequency, by frequency, and now they're being turned on by the changes of the energies on the planet, why would we need that? Because if our true abilities started to come on board, why would we need transhumanism?
Well, it takes the biological, it takes the wearing out, it takes the fact that the biological wears out faster than the machine when the machine's put together correctly. And we don't have the capacity to adjust our biological to a point where it lasts like a machine. Consequently, you look at the machine as the advantage. Okay, that's it. Now, we are, and it's not the energies, bear this in mind, it is not the wave energies and whatnot that are turning us on. It is, people are going to love this. It is a large concentration of artificial intelligence that resides with ETs that is turning this stuff on and off. Now, you got to think, we got maybe 250 per person. How many people we got on this planet? 7, 8, 9 billion? That might take more than overnight to get her done. So this is, it takes a certain amount of time. Now, then you have to augment and help these things along, these huge waves of energies that go through. And you want to see something freaky, you ought to look at the waveform on that baby.
Yeah, I've been looking at the Schumann resonance, and it sure looks different than it ever used to.
Yeah.
Some days far more than others, too. Sometimes if you wonder why you're feeling the way you're feeling, just look at the Schumann resonance.
I always knew I was strange, but this is over the top.
Exactly. I can relate to that.
Yep.
Okay, here's the next question. Who is the author of Follow the Money, the report that you mentioned in the last?
That's a bean counter that authored that. And if you get a copy of it or look it up on the internet, you'll find the author's name. Basically, that's unimportant. What's important is the manner in which, in terms of simplicity and application, that you can follow the money no matter what it is or what they do to it or how they try to hide it. It becomes visible. And I read the thing 3 or 4 times, and I thought, man, this thing is awesome. And I thought, interesting. So I get up from the computer, go in the other room, watch the news for a minute. And it's a Senate investigative committee looking into finance. I thought, well, shit, let's see if I can get that on their record. Guess what?
You did.
They now have a copy, their very own guy, and it got put into the planning, investigative planning part of what they do. So consequently, Follow the Money is one of the bases that are in there, and one of the reasons that these people can't get away with squat.
That's when journalists were true journalists, that's what they used to say, follow the money, not a book or anything, because that always tells you a lot. Just like studies that I used to look at in nutrition, you wanted to know who funded the study. It had a lot to do with the outcome.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's the next question. From the last free range show, you answered a question about finding one's mission in life by suggesting that the physical body, life force, and higher self need to be integrated or fused. How does someone accomplish that? Meditation, service of some sort to humankind, or how do we do that?
How do you do that? Well, you start off understanding that your physicality, your body, okay, 3-part being. Body, soul, spirit. Simple, not complicated. Keep it simple or you'll have problems. First, you have to understand that body and life force are pretty much fused together. You breathe and walk around and act like you're alive. You don't act like a dead person. So therefore, you have the body and the soul. And people confuse this. Say, "Oh, your eternal soul." That's life force, and it's not eternal. What's eternal is the spiritual kind. All right. In order to unite yourself with your spirit, you're going to have to go through a reasonable amount of trying to think here, meditation, concentration, and application. Um, I posted one of my books on the Cosmic Voice page, and it's the first book. It's the cookbook. It tells you how to have your first out of body experience without even knowing you're doing it, and it works. Yeah, and it works. When you understand that whatever you can perceive, you can accomplish, that means that the first thing would be to make sure you have some kind of active connection with the upstairs. That's first. Second thing is to augment it, make it bigger, make it better, make it, see how many connections you can use. One of the rules of martial arts, when you become an adept, is that you do not see with your eyes, you see with your mind. Practice that. That is the easiest way to actually acquire good solid connections. Okay. The third area of this that's more complicated than the others is called astral projection. You actually go out of your body. It's called an out-of-body experience. You actually go out of your body and you go any place you want. Quite literally, any old place you feel like. And it's not something that is necessarily dangerous, because you got a guardian angel following you around. It's kind of like Santa Claus. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. Well, this thing follows you in the outhouse or whatever you do all the time. The reason being, you are not to be subject to those who would be adverse to your existence. And that includes the vampiricals that will suck out your energy. This includes people that will soul trap you. There's a whole bunch of things that goes into that. Don't worry about the big old long list. That's for the guardian angel to worry about. And believe me, they carry a big hammer and they clunk people on the head with it. You heard of Maxwell's silver hammer? Well, this one weighs about 400,000 pounds, and it hurts when it hits, from what I heard. So you have to know that when you finally connect with your spiritual self, that is your personal awakening. Bingo. You are awake. You are aware.
Isn't that easier to accomplish now than it has been in the past?
Oh yeah, well that's what I was trying to say before, that they have turned on the things, they flipped the switches necessary to get us there more smoothly and with less effort. Okay, it does not mean it is effortless. Some people are going to have one bodacious time trying to get their whatever's to act right. It's just, they beat their head against a wall, whatever it takes, and you're really trying and you're chugging along and it still ain't working. And anyway. And then there's other people who just go, oh, okay. And they look at their petunias and say, hi, flower. And in some cases, if you actually are, let's see here, awake and aware and all that, you can hear the flower say, oh, I'm doing fine. Just keep the water coming. We're good. I'll petunia now. Remember that. I'll petunia. So it varies. The communication that you will have is with not just sentient beings or beings that are aware of themselves, but also those that are not. You can hear sometimes you can hear conversation between trees or some such that is literally not meant to be heard by anybody but the other tree. And if you listen in, it can be really interesting. That dummy run over my roots with his pickup truck again. I'm going to have to figure out something to do with that boy. Well, think about having an ingrown toenail and having somebody run over it with a truck. Yeah, so anyway, and if you want to really freak the trees out, you can break into the conversation and say, "Oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. How far away from you should I be?" You're liable to get a lot of silence for quite some time. The trees are going to go, "Holy shit!"
Trees are amazing. They do
Oh
have a
yeah.
whole communication system.
Oh, you should see a palm tree laugh.
Oh,
That's
wow.
hilarious.
Oh, that does sound like it would be funny. Okay, next question. All right. My question to Drake is about our loved ones who have ascended. After we die, are we connected back to our loved ones, our bloodlines through different lifetimes? Will there be reunions with family on the other side? I've seen spirit, glowing light of the heavenly realms, UFOs, and aliens. I'd like some clarification, please.
Well, the clarification's simple. You go to the next dimension when you die. In 3, you go to 4. Guess where we're going? 4. Guess what happens over there when everybody meets up? Man, it's going to be barbecue city.
A gathering.
Yeah, exactly. The what's interesting too is that people that have passed on also know everything there is to know about themselves and the people around them that had any effect or influence or whatever. So some of your secrets ain't going to be secret no more.
Well, the other thing
Yeah.
that, when somebody's concerned about their the loved ones that have ascended, right? Well,
Yeah.
if you consider all the lifetimes that we had and all the different mates we may have had, that could be a
No. You don't search through everything. What you have is you had a relationship with a live being here in this dimension, in our present. Okay. That present carries over into the next dimension in terms of, I talked to my mother and my father both just after they passed. And the only thing that I was not able to do was to manifest in a physical form in 5D at that point, and finally give my dad the hug I wanted to always give him. It just, so when I get there, he's getting a big old hug.
There's something about that older generation. My parents were very non-huggers. I mean, I think I can count on one hand the number of times.
I think you're liable to get surprised. Things change rapidly, drastically, and all that stuff. So
that's good.
Okay.
Hugs are important, I think. Okay. Here's another one. When we transition to 4D, will our pets, specifically our dogs, transition with us? And if so, will we be communicating with them telepathically?
Well, there's a whole bunch of things that goes into that. Some pets will transition and some won't, and I don't know how they got that figured out. I do know that you can be in contact at all times with your pet, whether they go or not. And in some cases, you can issue a what would be known as a special invitation for them to join you, and that can be honored. So there's a lot of different ways to go about this. My gist of it all, and I asked those kind of questions of my mentor upstairs, and it was real simple. I stipulated I wanted to know what that situation would be, and he said, "Well, pretty simple." And I said, "Well, I got to know birds and deer and all these other, and I'd like, I wouldn't mind seeing them." He said, "Everything in the existence of our planet and the populations thereof, be they animal, vegetable, or whatever, it all goes." So yeah, everything goes. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to have all that specialized. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I don't need that.
Okay. Next question. In the last show, you were talking about shutting down our capabilities as humans, and that we have this huge capabilities. Okay, the capabilities is in the combination of spirit and earthly body. Yes? Why?
Well, because the less physical you are, the more spiritual you become. Just that simple. That's a basic rule of how this works. So as you turn down or shut off physicality, you increase the spirituality. And I mean increase it tremendously. The life force is directly attributed to the biological. So it does not have as much impact as the spiritual does the further you go along with this. So the more advancement you make within yourself, the less physicality you're going to have. In terms of some things, the pain goes out of your joints or something of this nature, or starts to lessen. Then you know you're going in the right direction.
Well, isn't our
Okay?
spirit truly capable of great things? And our body is just the avatar that it works through. But when it becomes integrated, our body will be, I mean, it'll.
Well, you have to. What you have to understand is that there is a during a transition there is a duality. The duality is biological life force. That's on one side over there, and the other one is spiritual. It doesn't have the body or packaged carried around. It just is a glob, and sometimes rather beautiful glob of energy. Okay. The interesting part about it is that the spiritual, or 4D, eventually 4D, 5D, whatever, needs physicality in order to be physical in its new dimension, new vibration. So it's going to borrow some aspects of the old one. You're going to look the same, that sort of stuff. But you are not going to be the same. You're going to be a different kind of a being in terms of less physical, okay, or less reliant on genome and things of that nature. I'm more reliant on straight up spiritual applications. So it's different, and considerably different. It's like if everybody wants to find out, take a look at the picture in front of you, close your eyes, what do you see? Oh, really? You'll notice that the screen became a big dark spot. Close your eyes and it's a big dark spot. It don't have a picture on it. There's a reason for that. You're now beginning to see the difference between physical and non-physical. Now, if you look strictly with your eyes, you don't see a picture. If you use your mind, you can see the picture.
Where does the pineal gland come in there?
Who?
The pineal gland.
Oh, the pineal gland. The pineal gland is your. Let's see here. It's a combination of both connection and amplification. It needs to be. You need to do some tests. Those are all online to find out if it is calcified. If it is, there are ways to do away with the calcification. Mine is decalcified about 90% or so, give or take, and I've been doing this for years.
I didn't know that.
That takes some time.
I didn't know there was something online where you could actually test the level of calcification.
Well, there's all kinds of stuff online. If you look up pineal gland. That's first.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Okay, now wait a minute. Then look up calcification, pineal gland calcification, and remedy, and it'll tell you the different things. You know, you're gonna have to eat broccoli. Yep. Or peas, or artichokes, or something. I mean, you know, there are a whole load of supplements that directly affect it. The thing that people use for sleep, melatonin, it helps decalcify the pineal gland, among other things, because the pineal gland also controls that natural wave of it and proliferation of energy associated with light and dark. When it starts getting dark, you start getting sleepy. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, I know I've done a number of things in order to decalcify the pineal gland. And because, people that take antidepressants, I don't know if they know it or not. I didn't know it at the time. For a while, I did.
That screws things up real thoroughly.
Yeah. Prozac, for example, has 2 fluorine molecules, which means it has fluoride in it. And we still have fluoride in our water, which calcifies the pineal gland, which is crazy that we have to purify our water in order to not get it, when it should just be added in the first place. People have to wear hazmat suits in order to do it. I mean, that's crazy. I can't believe how crazy it is, and yet it continues. But anyway.
Well, I about got in trouble not too long ago. Been about a year and a half or so. They had an accident on a major thoroughfare. This was in a city. And the tanker truck, it was not a big one, a tanker truck hit a big curb, flipped over on its side, broke open, and slid out in the middle of the road. Well, that wouldn't have been too much of a problem, except it was loaded with fluoride. Guess what the fluoride immediately did? It started eating the tanker. Okay, eating the tank, the steel. It flowed across the asphalt and was dissolving it. It got to this storm drain, and you know how they got them real thick steel thingies to keep cars and whatnot from going down in the hole. It was eating that too. Now I tried to get the video, and the police told me to quit searching for it. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We'll not only turn you off, we'll come seeing you." I don't need that, so I give it up. There's a video out there somewhere. I don't know who's got it. There's a video of that stuff doing that, and I thought that, what's good for you? Put it in the toothpaste, in the water supply. Let's dumb everybody down like Hitler did. Yeah.
Yeah, they've done a good job of it too. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
That's why it's been taking so long to wake people up.
Partly.
It doesn't seem like the police are working for the right people if they wouldn't let you reveal that type of information. But anyway, it is available now on the internet. You can't find it, but hopefully we stop poisoning our water, because that's exactly what poison. Okay, next question. Would it be possible for you, Drake, to please kindly explain in detail what a timeline is, why many of them, and how do timelines differ from each other? What is their purpose? How do people...
No.
A bunch of questions.
There ain't no way I could answer all the back end of that question at all. Here's how it is. What you want to do is you want to get a hold of a what's called a hollow fiber optic. That's one that's got a hole, let's see here, about the size of a marker. It's got a hole about the size of a marker in the middle of it. And then it's got the sheath or whatever on the outside. Okay. What's interesting is this. You want to stretch it out and look through it. And you can get a piece that's 2-3 feet long, or however long you got to get. See if you can aim it at something and get a picture of it. Okay. That'll give you an idea, first of all, what the inside of a timeline looks like. Now imagine, now we're going to add the window dressing that sets the stage for everything in your whole life. Next, you close your eyes and think about everything in your life. This show, any kind of relationships you have with anybody, your furniture, your walls, your pictures, your floor, your underwear, all of that. It's flowing through the timeline. Okay. A timeline is almost infinite in its length. A timeline is pretty much what I described. Hollow fiber optic cable, and you can't see into it from the outside. And I'll qualify that. Normal people can't. I am a Q, and Q takes care of the continuum through the allocation and positioning of timelines. Now, you know what a rope looks like that's made out of hemp? The end of it's got all these little things in it. Okay, make the end of that hemp rope about a mile square, and take each one of those little ends that you see and divide by 10. Then you begin to get the idea of what the end of the main time stream looks like. In certain electronics areas, they call it a cannon plug. At any rate, what it is it's a grouping in a big semicircle or circle, and the timelines move all in and out with it to wherever they end up. They go, like I said, almost infinity. We make sure that you don't have a cha-ching or what is known as a dead-end timeline. The bad guys will stick you in a dead-end timeline, switch you over. You won't notice it. except that things ain't quite the way they're supposed to be. They're not quite acting the way that's right. Well, we have a tendency to climb onto that and say, oh, no, you don't. And we push you back into the timeline you're supposed to be in and make sure that you come here. And we jerk the old timeline out, that piece of junk, throw it in the trash, start over again. An individual timeline is everything that you have experienced and all of the influences you have throughout your life. I mean all of it, not just a part, but all of the influences, people you don't even know. Somebody repeats something that you said to them that they thought they liked to somebody else, and it comes back to you. And that person might go and tell 10 other, you might just spread something that's as prolific as free beer or whatever. And the majority of people and their timelines are positive. And I mean a huge majority. There's maybe 5% or less that are negative, that are nasty, that want to do harm or totally alter things to a point where you wouldn't recognize it. Then we have what are called pirates from the outside to come swooping in and like to grab a timeline and try to run off with it or pull it out of shape. They do these things for varying reasons. Some are put up to it. Some of them do it just for the fun of it, just to see if they can beat us to the punch. We're a lot faster than they think. The interesting part about it is very simple. 99.999% fail.
Good.
So it's 1/10,000th, 1/10,000th of 1% are successful in causing a problem. That's the norm. So we keep the balance. We maintain the main time stream. And at times we appear either in the physical form like I am right now or in a spiritual form to people in order to express certain things that, hey, you need to change this over here so that it comes out right, or whatever the case may be. You might try talking to this person like this and look at the difference, whatever we're called on to do. Okay?
Okay. Sounds good. All right, let's see what else we got. Well, there was a little more to that, related to the timeline. What happens to our families when we jump to another timeline? Are they going to be fine over there with us, or are they going to have a normal life? If everything's connected, like you said, in that timeline, it's
going to be the same sort of thing you had here. There'll be some minor and some major differences. The differential will be yours to discover. That's part of the teaching and training that you get. And you do get to go to school. Everybody does.
I like school myself, but anyway, they say it's programming, but the new school
it's going to be funners.
Good kind. We won't be taught lies, right?
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, next question.
Uh-huh.
I know we are all going from a debt-based financial system to asset-backed financial system soon. How will this improve the lives whom are back home from after their kids grew up, divorced, as adults, being supported, their parents because they cannot seem to get a job with hours or pay in a job required to pay for daily living, rent, food, phone, utilities, car insurance? How will the asset-backed financial system improve the life of people living and working below the poverty level?
Okay, it's very simple. You'll no longer it's not going to be asset-backed in terms of what we see on the business end of it. You're going to go from a debt instrument, which is your greenback that the dollar you got now, to an equity instrument. Expect $1 to be worth between 5 and 15 in the new system. And what that will do is that, say if it's worth 10, think about, what's 1/10 of the cost of a car, a house, just off the top. What happens if there is no debt carry? What happens if you have what happens if you have a system where that $5 or $6 loaf of bread that you've been getting that only every once in a while?
I know, I can't believe it costs that much now.
Yeah, well, think about it going back to $1. It's very simple. It's not complicated. Equity-backed equity system is anywhere from 3 to 100 times what debt systems are. In this particular case, with just the currency being altered, this is the global currency reset, by the way, the GCR. And what's fun about it is that as you spend less, you'll have more to spend. It won't change the economic levels of anybody. The people that have got all the money are going to still be getting that much money as well. But for the people who have not had equity in their lives before, all of a sudden you guys are going to get everybody that doesn't have is going to be able to purchase anywhere from 10 to 50, 100 times what they did before with the same amount of money.
So they'd be able to have a house. They'd be able to have
yeah, and
necessities of life.
and there's a bunch of other things go into this now, and this is the fun part. Wait until the replicators hit the neighborhood. You want to screw up a grocery store, clothing store, parts store. I mean, there's, it's unlimited.
A corporate world.
Yeah, well, a replicator will give you not only electrical power to run a house for about 100 years, but also you want dinner. Well, let's see, Salisbury steak pizza. I don't know. Let's see here. Oh, I know. And you punch in the number, click, 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 hit enter, and it goes bzzz. You open the door, and there's your meal. Mashed potatoes and gravy and whatever. Bingo. And this is the derivation of the solid matter. It has to be equated to the true understanding of what matter is. They have pictures of so-called atomic structures. That's a big lie. They don't know it's a lie, but it is. And the reason it is because this is where it crosses most often. You get 25 crosses and you end up with a point. Okay, or something that would be considered or look like it's solid. That's what you're seeing. It is all energy. It is all an energy field. Okay, matter is simply light that has been slowed down.
Molecular time rate.
There you go. There you go. So it's not difficult to understand what transpires. Now, replicators are tapped into dark energy. That's what fills the whole friggin' universe. It's going to be a while before you start running out of that particular kind of oil. Guaranteed. It's going to flow for a long time. So, in those respects, then you have self-creating dimensional energy sources. Ooh. That's where you make a solid object or a heavy, as they call it, a heavy element. It only lasts a microsecond, but the amount of energy it gives off when it disappears is humongous. So if you can learn to capture that energy and create that stuff on a regular basis, instead of the old crank it up cars, and down the road you go. Okay, we invented a starter. Turn the key and hey, that's pretty cool. Okay, think about just hitting a button. Start. That's it. You have a designate, then it'll ask you what your designation is. What do you mean, my designation? Are you the pilot? Yes, that's your designation. Oh, okay. Then you start talking to the computer about destination. Where are you trying to go? Grandma's house for turkey dinner. Okay. Have you got everybody on board yet? No, not quite. We're still chasing 2 kids. And you get the little turkeys in there and tie them to the wall, and you say, okay, time to go, and the thing goes poof, and you're there. It's not a time frame travel any longer. Does anybody really believe ETs live for a long time? But there's limitations on that. If it takes 1,000,000 years at the greatest velocity attainable to go from point A to point B, it's ridiculous. They said in that old antique sci-fi movie Dune,
I'm gonna have to
you
watch
take
that again.
space time and you bend it. You go from this side over here to this side over here, and you hook onto this side, and then you let it straighten back out again. You have traveled without moving.
Is that
Einstein's theories.
Is that
all that's relevant? Huh?
Would that be considered teleportation?
No.
No, that's different.
Teleportation is the interlink between 2 points.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit different. It's like the jump rooms. They're a little bit different than this. This would be something where you want to go to the other side of the galaxy.
That's too cool.
Well, you know, you want to travel a great distance. It's better to travel it in a matter of a very few minutes than a lifetime. So consequently, it's the physics are set up in such a manner that it's easier to do the fold, go from this over here to this over here, and then just allow it to relax again, and you're already where you wanted to go. And the manner of this, clear across the galaxy in a matter of 10, 15 minutes is pretty cool.
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't know how long it takes to go across the universe, but I figured out that 10, 15 minutes would be the average of the travel from one portion of our galaxy to another. And I don't mean from side to side necessarily, but that'll give you an idea. It'll give you an idea.
Will Earth be released from the quarantine, or do we have to evolve to a certain extent where we don't, aren't so?
No, it won't be released from quarantine until such time as we transition. Oh. After the transition, it will be released, but it will also be guarded at the same time. Everybody has to understand that there are pirates out there that do nasty things to you just to try to get what you got, whatever that may be. They might just put you in the airlock and open the outer doors and take bets on which side of you freezes or cooks first. I mean, there's a lot of variety in it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's still bad guys. We still have to deal with bad guys.
Yeah, but you're going to have your little cutesy VW bug that you're going to be tooling around the solar system in. It does have shields, and it does have it is armed. It's not armed real great, but it's armed well enough to at least discourage somebody from trying to open the window.
Okay. Next question. Ask Drake, why did they allow the cabal to darn near destroy us, the people, in Gaia? If we, the people, were special humans, and Gaia being a living thing and a special planet also, destroying our weather, why didn't the Watchers step in and stop it? Were they not doing their job?
The Watchers are not supposed to interfere or be involved in any way, shape, or form. They are to watch, observe only. That's what the Watchers do. It is our discretion as to what how we go about raping our planet. Our discretion. Okay, so the answer to that comes back on the individual that knows about it. Okay, how many other people that you know? How many other people are aware of what all is going on, and to the extent it's gone? And you can take global warming and shit can it. Man did not have anything to do with that. Sorry, but it don't work that way. We are going through a turn. If you haven't noticed, the moon is having trouble keeping its orbit quite right, and the sun's at a funny angle in the morning. Okay, that's because we're going through a turn. When we get done with the turn, then everything levels out just fine. Now, in the meantime, ET has been monitoring and taking care of, along with myself and others, the propensity of the Earth to have adverse effects, such as all the volcanoes go off, or ooh, look at the size of that. And you look over and the whole Pacific Ocean is turned into one big hurricane. No, ain't having days like that. Okay. there was a bombardment attempted by the bad guys, and we turned all the rocks around that they were throwing from the Van Allen belt and throw them back at them.
Good.
Oh, I don't know what they do in their little cutesy little runabouts. I don't know what they do. I don't know if they can outrun some of them. Some people throw them pretty hard, like me. The situation is that we were supposed to have been destroyed. Bear this in mind. December 21st, 2012. Ooh, supposed to be gone,
Whole split.
kaput. And that didn't happen. The reason it didn't happen is because it was not what everybody thought it was. It was a simple instantaneous switch. Come up to 2012. 2012 started a period of grace. The period of grace is still running to an extent. It runs out soon. And before that time, we're supposed to be ready to transition. We'll see. I think we will be.
Well, don't people have to work on their negativity and stop being negative and
No, not really. All you have to do is understand that you don't have to put up that shit, because whatever you can find that's negative, whether you're originating it or not, is such that and this is neat, when you understand what it is and where it comes from, you're going to deny that. It's not working on the negativity. It's just, oh, I ain't entertaining that bullshit thought. I don't care if that person's purple. If they want to really be funny, well, my goodness, why don't you turn hot pink, neon pink with neon green polka dots? That would be an original skin color now, wouldn't it? Oh, you're a little different. Oh, I'm different from everybody you ever met. Ha ha. Well, I mean, that's how ridiculous racism is. Now, there are several problems. One is that the Negroid peoples used to run this planet. The Egyptians were Negroid. Ooh, I mean, take it to the farthest level and go from there. That's basically what you're dealing with.
Well, if you think in terms of integrating with spirit, spirit doesn't have any racial color.
Yeah. Yeah. We all become then at that point, people might start getting the idea that maybe, just maybe, we're part of the human race. Oh,
and
my
we're
goodness.
all connected. Okay, next question. Do the new genius pills really work? And are they safe for consumption for starseeds? I don't know.
The new which kind of pills?
They're called genius pills.
It depends on what you're talking about in relation to that. I use mind enhancers that are ancient, and by that I mean they're older than the Egyptians. Hold on just a second. Let me go get the bottle so I can tell you what it is.
Oh, good. That's good. We want to know.
All right. Now I got to get my eyes on so I can see what's happening when what happens when you get old.
I know.
All right. This is known as piracetam. Piracetam.
I've heard of that before. I think I've even taken it.
And this is 800 milligram, which is the recommended dosage. And this comes from the Book of Medicine, found next to the Book of the Dead in Egypt.
Ooh.
That's the recommended dosage. Well, what they did was they take a certain plant and process the piracetam out of it. And that basically gives you your goodies. What it does is multidimensional. Raises your alertness, awareness, cognizance, perception, and ability to deal with that mess. All at the same time. These things cost me, they're like, I think they're like 17 bucks. Let me get my glasses. I can't see this sucker again. Imagine that. Pure Nootropics and NOO Tropics, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Okay.
What about that Indian? I can't even say it.
What?
Indium. You talked about
Yeah,
it.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. What?
I've tried a whole bunch. I've tried a whole bunch of different things, and paracetam's the one that works for me. You may need to experiment. I don't know. DLPA is another one that's commonly available at health food stores. In some cases, paracetam is also available there. So it varies. If you're a reasonably healthy person, you will find that a lot of these things boost you extraordinarily. Okay.
Cool. That helps with clean eating and drinking, purifying your water and eating organics.
Get a big Berkefeld countertop water filter. What it does is nothing nothing larger than 2 microns goes through the filter. That means none of your diseases. That means none of your nasty chemicals. It takes fluoride out of water.
Yes, it does. I have one myself.
So we've been using ours for, I don't know, 12, 15 years now, and I'll recommend that for starters over almost anything. So we got a well. It takes the well taste out of the water. It just, I don't know of anything better.
Well, personally. Water, at least you don't have to deal with fluoride because
I'm not.
Yeah.
This is an almost zero fluoride area. Yeah. So there isn't fluoride in the water.
The thing that I want to say is with the Big Berkey, if you have fluoride in your water, there's an extra filter that goes with the other filter that you connect to your Big Berkey. Because I have that.
I didn't. That's that super filter, and I don't bother using it because I made sure that they Big Berkey, the company, sent the person I get my stuff from a letter stipulating that the regular filters take that stuff out. So I don't use the super filter. If I was close to a chemical plant, I'd use it just to be sure.
Yeah, right now I would need it in the where I'm at right now because oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. I wish I had the picture here with me, but I took a picture. I also have a distiller in addition to the Big Berkey. Sometimes I use a distiller. But anyway, in the bottom of the distiller, when I got done distilling, there was still a little bit of water in the bottom, and it was brown, and there was all this granules in it too. I mean, I feel sorry for the people that are just drinking that water without thinking.
Well, a lot of people think that bottled water is safe to get a gallon of it. Well, I hate to tell you, but you need a Berkey to get the plastic out of the water from the jug. So
you should tell Big Berkey, take that jug of plasticized water and dump it in through the Big Berkey. Yeah.
We're coming up on 2 hours. Did you know that?
Oh my goodness. Well, maybe we better call it a day because look at this. I've got about 4 or 5 more pages of questions, but we can handle them on another show.
That's no problem.
Okay. We better cut it down because sometimes people just, that's just too long. They look, oh my God, it's
I think that if they're interested in what's being told, what's specified and all that, the content, you don't have a problem running it for 4 or 5 hours if need be. That would be a seminar, but you get the picture.
Okay. Well, would you like to continue or should we stop?
Well, how much more have you got?
Let me see.
Another 5 minutes, maybe? I mean, I can, let's put it this way. I will condense my answers a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so they're not so long.
Let's see if we can get through a few more then.
All right, do it.
Some of the questions are long, but okay, here's one. Okay, I'm a professional artist and illustrator by day and had hoped to get an overall verbal picture of this ship called Earth so that I might make an illustration of it. Hence my questions for Drake. I will share anything I create with whoever wants to have it. Please see if you can get some details out of Drake since Kent is not responsive. This subject needs to be put to rest once and for all. Oh, that's when I'm calling the Earth a ship.
Such as?
That the Earth ship, I don't.
Well, yeah, that's difficult because it's a living entity, and it's hard to we can't even define ourselves as living entities, let alone the planet Earth. Now, if you want to get some pictures, you can get NASA has Earth pictures, and they also have spectral pictures that are available.
Okay.
So
well, some
you
people
can
say
get.
that NASA, never a straight answer, isn't always going to give you the right.
Well, need another 7 astronauts was another one I heard too. I mean, you know, it varies a bit in that, in all that, but yeah, you can get. But the thing is, the pictures ain't screwed with. Okay, Hubble takes them, etc. I would suggest that you go through the NASA thing, find out who did what to who, maybe get a hold of Hubble. Now it's part of NASA, but it's also independent. So you might be able to get more of a, I don't know, concise and truthful answer as you might feel it that way. There's a lot of ways.
Okay, next question. There's been a lot of questions, several questions about the free energy project that you mentioned about the device that you were working on. Several people asked if it's when that.
I'm working on it. That's all I'm going to tell anybody.
It's not ready yet, right? Okay. Let's see. I have started a trust called Love from Above. We are waiting for private funding for our project in which we will grow food and cater to housing. Seniors who are losing their homes. Well, some seniors don't even have a home, like myself. But anyway, the homes are being replaced by investors who are buying any and all extra land, mobile home parks, and other areas to put in housing that seniors and low income cannot afford. And that's really true, because what they've done is they put up these requirements for people that are impossible for a senior to meet, like having 3.5 times a year, whatever they charge and that kind of thing. That's just crazy. But anyway, we would be interested in these devices also for that project. It would be awesome to have them for our housing project. So they want you to, whenever you have that information, to go on. I guess that's on the same order as a previous one.
Boy. You'll have to look for any kind of ruling dealing with eminent domain, first of all. Secondly, you're going to have to use cruel and unusual punishment of the individuals living there in order to try to put it on an unconstitutional basis. Third, if anybody tries to foreclose in any way, shape, or form, there's one simple trick in real estate. Make them prove that they own it. The only proof that you own a property is the title deed. If they cannot produce the title deed, they have no right to your property, eminent domain or anything else. We don't live in Russia for a reason. So, and there has been some firefights over this, and one of the guys they were fighting with was a World War II vet. He was an anti-tank commander, and he blew away a whole load of bulldozers, earth movers, knocked down a couple of helicopters that were shooting at him. This guy was not going to have it. And guess what? Not only is he home, relaxed, there's no damage to his house or his yard. They left him alone, period. Okay, now, so it's like the bounty on drones. A drone, I don't care what kind it is or what reason it has, may not spy on you at any altitude. And secondly, minimum 200 feet. Minimum, period, 200 feet. If you can't maintain the combination of those two, you get the right to get the shotgun out and have some practice.
Have some target practice. Huh? Okay.
Oh, well.
There was a continuation on that.
What?
On what we just discussed.
Okay.
I have funds available now for about 10 units. We need med beds and food and electricity in 4D. Will we need
you're going to get treated in 4D in something that's quite a few steps above a med bed.
So are the med beds ever actually going to be?
The med beds are for this time.
Ah, okay.
Okay. The biospheres and healing centers are for that dimension.
Okay.
So that's what, you know.
But the med beds aren't really available to people now, are they?
Yeah, they're going to try to make them available here shortly. I'm supposed to be involved in some of that project. We'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of people with a lot of disabilities.
I'm gonna make what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make some announcements on both on Cosmic Voice and notify everybody on Skype that I need to notify as to what is taking place. That way, everybody and their mother-in-law can be aware of what's happening.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Okay. Here's a question. Are the Mormon church leaders involved in human sacrifice? If yes, will the higher ups ever be exposed? What about the Masons and the Vatican? I don't know if you want to answer those questions.
Those are things that are going to vaporize, that are not going to be in existence in 4D.
Thank goodness. Yes. Okay.
So that's one caveat that you're looking at. Number two, you got to remember that both of those entities named, along with a whole bunch of other ones that were cabal based, they don't have the power anymore to really screw things up like they thought they would be able to. So I wouldn't worry about them a whole lot.
Yeah, they're on the way out.
Yep.
Okay. Can you ask Drake about how to understand our higher selves to know how to communicate with our higher self? With our spirit?
That communication is already ingrained in you. You don't have to worry about fooling with it or getting a translator or anything like that. It's yours and it is you. So consequently, you and this is most probable and most common, you most probably will hear simple English or whatever your native tongue is spoken back and forth. If it's Yiddish or if it's Russian or Latvian, it doesn't matter.
So when I'm talking to myself in my mind.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're going to hear an echo sometime, probably. Wait a minute, you know.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Oh, ask Drake his thoughts on tobacco smoking and vape.
I smoke. Most ETs won't allow tobacco products on their ships. So that'll give you an idea. It's not so much the tobacco product itself as it is there's about 5 drugs in there. Everybody goes, ooh, nicotine. Well, there's 4 more of them are just as nasty. I'm not addicted to nicotine. I'm addicted to one of those auxiliary ones. And I'm in the process of figuring out how to deal with it. Once I figure that out, I will let everybody know. Okay?
I used to smoke, I stopped probably about 5 or 6 times over the course of my lifetime, and then, had restarted and then had to stop again or whatever. I never used any of those aids that are supposed to help that, because I don't think that works. This for me anyway. It was better for me to just go cold turkey and leave me alone for at least 48 hours.
I'm not going to be sociable for a while. Why is that? I quit smoking. Oh boy.
Exactly. And then I used to have straws, which are now they outlawed.
Oh, that's even worse.
Just chew on
a friend of mine quit smoking. And he said, now that I don't have cigarettes in the morning, shame on anybody, to include God Almighty, who gets between me and my coffee in the morning. Oh, it was pretty hilarious, but yeah.
Okay. Well, now I could say something about coffee, but I won't. I'll let it slide. It's very acidic. Okay.
So did we cover the questions?
There's only a couple more. We've almost.
Okay, do it.
Okay. Millions of people have purchased Zim and plans to help the poor worldwide. There are multiple sites that talk about this great happening daily. Have they been fooled?
No. The Zim's real. You just got to be patient and wait for it to come about. You'll find it will hit the major news media, and then you'll know. Okay.
Here's another good one. Is it just the queen who's being indicted or all of them? And what will happen to them?
The queen's not being indicted. She's abdicating the throne along with her family. Big difference. Now, the indictment may or may not, it's there, but they may not exercise it. She's supposed to just basically take her very personal items and go primarily. If she does that, then everything is good to go otherwise, so there's no need to indict her.
What about all the accumulation of all the wealth that she has that could change?
What did I just say? Personal items. You know, like your toothbrush and toothpaste.
Oh, that's all?
That sort of thing. Yeah, well, that level, okay?
Oh, okay.
There, she's not going to be, no, the accumulation of wealth actually is going to be frozen for the simple fact that there is a huge amount of reparations needing to be made back to the United States Treasury.
Oh yeah.
Oops.
What about where did all our taxes go?
Exactly. Now you're getting it. We want that money back. Well, that will put us in the black. Just to let you know.
Yeah, that's what. Now there are some.
All right.
Oh, here's another one. I'm confused. I thought Hillary died in 2016 and she is about cloned out. Is this correct?
Yeah, she did. She died a long time ago. What you're seeing is a clone. If you watch the clone real close, every once in a while, it screws up. Like that time it was walking to get on the van and it fell over. Okay, well that's what happens when either the connection to the original and or the batteries start going down. That sort of thing happens. So if they start doing the or some such, you know that their batteries are fried. You also know it's a clone. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff goes into this, but there it is.
Unfortunately, there are still people out there that don't even think clones exist.
Yeah.
They'll find out. I heard they're malfunctioning now more than ever too.
Yeah, well, ET is putting in some blockers in terms of the what they call mind pathways that give these things the mannerisms and intellect and memories and whatnot that the original had. Okay.
Oh, is that why some of the politicians are talking nonsense?
Yeah. Well, I'm not so sure that's not part of a politician's DNA.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh boy. Anyway, and
let's see. Here's another one. It would be great if Drake could explain in terms we can understand a way to make organs the right way. It would be great to have some tools to be able to defend and protect ourselves of the EMFs and the negative energies from seen and unseen beings. Is there a video of someone that he recommends for us to watch to learn and do?
No. Go to orgon.com if you want to know about orgon energy. If you want to learn how to protect yourself, practice covering yourself in pink armor. The pink armor comes from your spiritual self and is pretty much impervious. What you do is you imagine it covering your whole body. And after it covers the whole body, then relax and go to sleep. There ain't very many things to get through that. And if they do, they're going to make enough noise to wake you up. So you can smack them upside the head or something.
Really connecting with your spiritual self.
Yeah.
Very important. Okay. What would happen if the missing tops were placed upon the pyramids?
It would reconnect the old energy grid to an extent where energy would be sent into deep space in the form of a beam, among other things. So certain portions of the surface of the planet, to include mountain ranges, would glow in the dark. There's a whole bunch of things that would happen. E.T. told the Egyptian authorities to stop us, or a group similar to myself back in the day, from putting the capstone on the Great Pyramid in Egypt.
Oh.
They didn't want to light fireworks. And the horse hockey goes with it. So, the answer was no, don't do that.
This one may take a book too, and I don't think because
What is it?
With the questions about the pyramid slope angle comparison. He says, Drake says,
Oh Lord.
I know.
57.3 degrees is a specific special derivative uh, of things. It has to do with a whole bunch of different deals. In piezoelectricity, it has to deal with the angstrom. Now go figure that one out. That ought to keep you busy for about 6 months.
I just think that will, because they're talking about Giza pyramid, Russian healing pyramid, golden pyramid, Dubian pyramid, and giving different angles for each of them. So that's
what they have to do is understand what 2 times 57.3 degrees is.
Let me get my calculator out. I don't have it.
Well, there is a 216-degree nemesis out there, and that has something to do with that. But anyway.
Okay. Drake stated that apple cider vinegar disables nano. Do other fermented foods do the same, such as sauerkraut, pickles, etc.?
To some extent, but different ways. Apple cider vinegar has a spectrum or grouping of things that it affects, and that's different from like sauerkraut, etc.
You know what? I used to use that for, I mean, I still do, but I used to drink it every day, not drink the apple cider vinegar itself. What I would do is I'd put a tablespoon in some water and add some stevia, and I would drink that for a long time. Made me feel great, actually. I did not know I was disabling nano at the time. Good. That's a good thing. Okay. At what point does Trump have to declare a running partner if...
He already has one. It's called the vice president.
No, he means for the next term. Or
what'd I just say?
Oh, they'd use the same...
Normally you don't switch.
Oh, you can't?
I didn't say can't. I said normally you don't.
Oh, okay. Because
there ain't nothing wrong with the guy.
I also read that his original selection was Flynn.
Was who?
Flynn, General Flynn.
Okay. All right.
They didn't allow it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that go on. Should Pence be disqualified for some reason? There's a stand-in ready to go, and I'm not allowed to name that person.
That's okay. We don't.
You will understand. You know, normally the vice president continues with the president. As I said, if Pence is disqualified for some reason, there is a stand-in waiting who is interesting, to say the least.
Okay, I got it. Right. But I won't say anything either. Okay. We only got 2 questions left. Drake, you made mention of a pill which would cure a lot of what ails humanity. I have type 2 diabetes. I'm doing all I know. Been rather than resorting to big pharma and to try and control it, but all seems to be in vain. My blood sugar remains stubbornly high. I would strongly suggest they try a vegetarian or vegan diet, but anyway, what do you have to say?
I would suggest you get some CBD capsules.
That works too. Yeah, that helps a lot.
And that's available, and it's not real expensive.
That's true. What you put in your mouth makes a big difference too.
Yeah.
So, you know, looking into that plant-based would be real helpful too. Oh, that's the same one. I repeated the same question. We're done. We got through them all.
We're done. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, you got almost a 2-hour show.
Okay. Well, people have a lot of questions. We'll have more questions. Be sure to send your questions to questionsfordrake2gail@gmail.com. And I will compile the questions, and that's the best way for me to do it, because if you ask online with questions there, I might not see it. So send it to the email. And I thank you very much for your time, Drake. It was a wonderful show, I think. All the answers that you came up with, and it should make your listening audience or our listening audience happy, I hope.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's you know, I enjoy it. I really do.
I do too. It's
okay.
So thank you, everyone. We're signing off for today, and we'll see you again probably in a week.
Next time.
Next time. Yeah, that's easier. Okay, thank you. And stop.